want. Everything's perfect. Look, I am representing Rocacorva IRL as well. Finally! Finally! I can show it off. Oh Lord. It took its time, guys. Just a pity that people who... anyway. Keep it to myself. Anyway. Here we are. Whoa, it's crowded. It is crowded. So... no, it's not this one. Wait. Hope everyone is having a good day. Let me see, is the sound good? Bike is not making any weird noise, which is also good. Just posting very fast on social media. I like this one. It looks a lot like the color. Also is winning. No. Oslo. Where's Oslo? Yeah, I like Oslo. How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are having a good time. Is Ashley going to be with us today? Interesting. I didn't know. Whoa, we are gone. That went so fast. There we go. Hope you're all having a good time. Good morning. one yellow beacon, and you can have different red beacons. Probably that's the name. Yeah, it should work. I'll try to stay with my shirt for as long as I can. I can't. I'll try to put it on before the prologue. Yes, I am. Oh, wait! I ordered my pedals yesterday and the cleats, so by the end of the week they should arrive. I'm getting close. Oh yeah. thing is, I would still have to stream with the mountain bike shoes because that's what my boyfriend has, and we share the same bike. For now, who knows? It hasn't happened yet because at work it was a madness week and I was sick the beginning of the week as well. So, but it's coming. One day at a time. Yeah. Me neither. I'm so excited for that. I could not sleep last night because I lost the keys of my bike chain. I was looking everywhere inside the house. So, I'll see. Damn. Only me. Oh yeah. I have to go to work anyway, so. Trying to make it interesting, guys. There you go. Oops. Yeah, the ride with Lance Armstrong was over 1,500 people. It's crazy, yeah? Uh, ah. Oh my god, I really hate the cobblestones on social rides. Because you feel all. You see, my heart rate is super down. It's just, oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was a good way to put it. The questionable about fashion. Who wear best? I must say, I also feel, well, but I also feel sorry about the guys from Education First and their kids. I'm sorry. It's still chewing gum for me. I also feel sorry for the guys from Education First and their new kit. It looks like a chewing gum package mixed with washing product. Oh no! It's still 90s for me. Exactly. And it's going to be like a collector's item for sure. Yeah, the Crocs shoes. I'm so hungry. I never noticed the shadows over there. It's like the bridge is transparent. Oops. Got a glitch. Follow me. Land. It's strange that I haven't received a pop-up. I forgot that it opens just like the one. Oh, but it's good. I'm going to the restroom in a bit. Okay, so I'll be leaving right now. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to do the 500. Oh my god, I got a PR. Oh, maybe I can do 2 hours. Yesterday it was almost 2 hours, wasn't I? Yeah, I'm going to stop. Oh, 200 meters. I'll try to go to the restroom as fast as I can. I'll be back. I'll be back. I am back. Oh.
Briefing and pro rider blogs who are supporting this podcast. So settle down and let's get started.
Let me put on my jersey again.
So welcome to our preview podcast of the Tour de France Femmes avec Swift, starting in Paris on the 24th of July. Finishing on the 31st of July, 8 stages in total, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the race to learn about the stages, the key riders to watch, a little bit about the sponsors who are backing the race, and a little bit about the history. And why not kick things off with a chat to one of the riders who rode in the Tour de France Femina in 1985, two-time Olympian Maria Blower. Maria, thank you so much for joining.
There you go.
I can't wait to get to know what it was like to be in the race.
Oh, hi Hannah. It was really good. It was good fun. It was scary. It was an experience that I'll never forget. It was an unbelievable experience, and I'm so proud and lucky that I got to do it.
And
I still cannot hear
terrific results along the way.
The podcast,
You but finished 22nd in the
there.
overall general classification in '85. you were third on a stage on stage 10 and fourth on stage 3, if I checked the results correctly. What was that like, battling and getting that podium on the stage 10?
It was a bit surreal because the day before I'd been feeling really rough. We'd had a really
Dream on.
We'd had a
She's
mountain
just
stage.
she's just 48. When did she turn 47? It was like yesterday, Faye? You're already 48.
I was very aggressive back then, so I was quite often.
I'm still 37. I'm struggling at 37.
And Valerie Simonet, the French rider, she and I knew each other, so we just worked together. And then,
I got at the Alp once 1,000
I was
points.
just third in the sprint.
It was 2
You
weeks
were
ago
just
or
saying
3.
that it was on the time trial course. So was the race then run alongside
You see?
the men's tour? Were the stages very, very similar, or what did that look
I'm
like?
telling you, ladies, you have to come to the Alp.
We were off early before the men started, so it would have been like get up really early, have breakfast really early. So
Yeah.
I remember just being at the start thinking,
But that's
you know,
drops.
cold. You know, what?
You get drops.
It was like, you know, you go from finishing up a mountain to the next day waking up
No.
crack of dawn to get some breakfast inside you. to
And
get
if
to the
you're
start.
super tacky, you do not
It
get
was a
drops.
ski resort, I remember. Yeah, and I remember feeling
have to be
really rubbish
better.
at the start, and then once I started riding, I felt I was flying. So it's just bizarre.
And how many stages were there?
But wait a moment. At
Because
42,
looking
you
at
get
the
a very good
results
disc.
online and
from
from
Swiss
what I could
DT.
find. You can't
There's
really
a very
find
good-
the full results of kind of all stages or how many stages there were.
There were 17 stages in total and 4 rest days, but because the regulations were that women weren't allowed to race over 10 days,
You see?
they broke it into 2 separate races. They even had separate jerseys for each
Oh my God.
and then they mashed it together for the overall, the yellow jersey in Paris. So they had purple jerseys for the second half. It was like suddenly they said, right, now you're in another race. We'd only had a day in between to get regulations.
Wow. But I mean, what was that like then? Having, you're only allowed to do a maximum of 10 days. What was that like? Although you've got the 4 rest days, to race 17
Hi.
stages, 17 days. What was that like?
I
in your
am.
body?
I'm doing
Because
the
I
Watch
guess
the Femmes
it's
Prologue
not
right now.
something you were used to, or any of the peloton were used to.
No, it was looking back. I can see that the nutrition was.
Oh,
rubbish.
shoot.
I know that because we had because the men's stages are so long and ours were so short. We had to do these massive transfers
me too.
either before or after. And I don't think that I don't remember being hungry a lot of the time. I know when I see pictures of me at the finish, I look as light as I've ever been. I don't think we nutritionally looked after ourselves well enough.
You were talking about the length of the stage there, and that some of them were short. What was the longest stage, and what was the shortest stage actually?
The longest stage was, on paper it said 93 kilometres, but in reality they would always tag on these bizarre extra neutralised sections. So we'd have to start, say, in the village where they'd set up the start village, but then in order to get us further up the road to where the men's finish was, we'd ride 10 or 20 kilometres behind the car, and then they'd drop the flag, and then so you never knew exactly how far the race was going to be.
I guess you always
But you know what?
had to be attentive to know where the finish
It's
line
just
might
like
be.
people who wanted to go back to the office, and now that they have to go back to the office, they're complaining. So in 1 month or 2, they're going to say, oh my God, I miss Swift. I want to be back.
Peugeots that the men's team had, which looked really cool, and they were really cool. But I remember quite early on, one of us punctured. I think it was Catherine Swinnerson, and me and Linda Gorner went back for her, and we used the cars to get back on. And in women's racing, was back then kind of normal that countries would help each other. And then when we got to the finish, we got fined like 30 seconds, and we were so like devastated because it plummeted us down the GC. Not realising that later on we'd lose minutes, but at that point losing the 30 seconds was really tragic.
Yeah, quite traumatic. You've made that effort, everything's going to a success, and then to find you've been penalised.
Yeah, we were really indignant about that. We didn't understand it. We wanted to complain and everything. And then when we got to Paris, it was like 30 seconds apart, we lost minutes. You know?
What was the infrastructure of the race like? I mean, I guess being in the race, you're so focused on the race ahead and the stages.
I'm not even going to say anything. I have to keep my mouth shut.
What was the start village like, or the finish village, or the towns, or the crowds? What was it all like?
The start villages would be smaller. It would be a smaller setup because it would always just be us. So it'd be the girls on their own. And I remember one day when we just started literally at the bottom of the mountain. It was like you had to be in your little ring on a little gear to even get your foot in, because it was just like they just wanted us to go up the mountain, down a mountain, and then up another mountain.
Wow.
So that was short stage, but it was just basically uphill.
Yeah, very physically demanding, and I guess mentally demanding as well.
It was disproportionately hilly, obviously, because the men had had these great long lead-ins. We didn't. We were just like, boom, mountain. There was no lead into the mountain, just on it.
Would you do a warm-up before you get to that point? Because of course now with turbo trainers, rollers, smart turbos, there's that opportunity that you can do a bit of a warm-up, especially before a hard stage like that, or a short stage. You see, on time trials and what have you. But would you have something like that equipment, or would you just go out for a ride before the stage started?
I think we would have ridden from the hotel if we were close enough, and maybe done a little bit, but really, no. And plus, you were so tired. It's hard to, because there was so much travelling before the stage or after the stage. You'd have to then, because we couldn't stay in the same town as the men because they didn't have enough hotels. So they had to get us far enough away from the men to get accommodation. So there was always this fast driving, and we would drive in convoy with all the gendarmes. So it would seem like it was quick, but it was a long way, everyone was.
Yeah, definitely, and especially after you've finished a stage and you're all trying to get on the road. Can you remember sort of what a transfer, or how long the transfer was?
It would always be a couple of hours. It felt like it was always a couple of hours. And because in the team car it felt like crowded, so I remember I would often go in the side wagon with some Chinese girls, and it was just like there was more room in there than there was in the car.
Yeah, important to try and recover as much as possible. I guess it wasn't such a big thing back then. It's not like you've got big buses like the World Tour teams have now, where you have that comfort, that luxury to maximise the recovery.
No busing, no. Nobody was kept giving us food. I think you get stuck in that minivan and you've got no food and you didn't really. That was it. You got to the hotel.
Like you say, you must have been hungry, and nutrition wasn't such a, I guess, well-known thing then of how important it was to recover for you riders.
No, not recovering. No, absolutely not. I mean, my dad had been a professional, so he did take me to see Barry Hoban, who was a British rider who won stages in the Tour de France. And he said to me, he was quite blunt with me. He said, you've got no chance in the mountains. He said, you've got to be opportunistic. So you've got to take your chances. And that was really good advice. How
important was that knowledge that Barry Hoban had given to you? Of course, as you said, Marie,
I'm
won stages in the Tour de
155.
France, he's won stages in the Vuelta, many victories during his career. But how integral was that knowledge that he passed on to you as a rider?
It was invaluable. Plus, my dad had lived in France and had.
No, I'm not going to talk about the kilos.
To ride the Tour de France. My dad had ridden the Dauphin, and we had a bike shop, so I did have an advantage that they knew what I was heading in for, even if I didn't. So I did have the right gears. I did have low gears, and because we'd learned from the girls the year before that they didn't have low enough gears. So I did have good kit, and I did have the best knowledge that was available to me at the time. But looking back, I can see how ill-prepared we were. But I did have, and I had extra jerseys made, because at that point we were still using woolly jerseys. And so I'd had some extra lycra jerseys made, so that I'd got enough jerseys to have, and shorts. The shorts were still woolly back then.
I've got so many questions. First of all, what gearing did you use? Because that would have been vital, that would have been crucial. And you must, for those wearing woolen jerseys still and woolen shorts, it must have been boring.
Yeah, it was. It was. You'd see girls with like white salts coming through their woolly jerseys, and the zips were only short as well. We didn't have long zips. We only had short zips.
Wow. But about the gearing, do you remember what gears you rode, Maria?
Yeah, I know I've got like a 26. I've got like a 26 on the back. But you would have only had like a 42, because we had 52 42s back then. You know, we didn't have those tiny rings. You know, it seemed like they were little gears, but we didn't spin like riders do now. We pushed more.
Definitely, and you can see that in, you know, when you look at old footage and the difference in cadence of the riders, both in, you know, females and males. Like you say, the smaller gearing just wasn't a thing.
No, we didn't twiddle. We pushed.
I mentioned before, Maria, that you had a really successful tour in 85. When you came out of the race, were you satisfied with your performance? Were you thrilled? What were the emotions like when you finished the tour and had some time to let the results settle in and sort of set in your mind?
At that time, I think I was actually disappointed. I was disappointed with my GC. I think I had higher hopes. But then all these little Italians and little French girls that hadn't really shone in other races, because I'd finished third in the Tour of Norway and I'd had some good results. I'd ridden in Texas. I finished ninth in the Tour of Texas that year, which was a big race beforehand. And I think I expected better of myself in the mountains.
But when you look back on it now, you know, and you look back on your career, how does it make you feel that you were a rider competing in the Tour de France Femmes?
I think I was really, really fortunate. I think I was just really lucky that I got to do it when I did it. Because 85 was the year when we did the full length of the men's tour. I mean, after that, they kept making it smaller and smaller and smaller until they had it at a completely different time. I was just really lucky.
And of course, you didn't ride in 84 because was there a clash with the Olympics?
Yeah, we went out to do the Course Classic before the Olympics. So, yeah, there was a clash. And actually, when we announced that there was going to be a Women's Tour de France, I was 18. And I thought, Christ, if they'd taken 3 off at the Olympics and then 6 for the Tour de France, I stand a chance of getting on the Tour de France team. And that was my goal for 84, was to get on the Tour de France team. And I trained so hard that winter, really trained hard with the lads and, you know, riding out into Derbyshire from Leicestershire, loads of miles in. And then we started the first early races and I was up there and then I was...
I'm not listening to anything on the podcast, so sorry guys.
I was also in Norway. I was third in Norway and I was riding stage races and getting breaks and I had a really good early season there. So then I was selected for the Olympics, which was amazing because that was the very first Olympics, first time that women had been in the Olympics. So again, I was so lucky to have gone there.
Yeah, a lot of firsts in your career and you've done some incredible things during your career as well and some terrific results, and to be a part of that era and of those firsts, you must be proud.
Yeah, I am. I think I was really blessed that because I went to the first Commonwealth Games as well, which was in 1990. I mean, unbelievable that we didn't get to the Commonwealth Games until 1990. I missed 2 cycles of that I could have gone to ride for England. So, yeah, women's cycling seemed to be really booming at that point, and I was very fortunate to be on that wave.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who won overall when you rode in 85, Maria?
Maria Canis. Yeah, the Italian. She was a lot older. She lived in the mountains in Italy and she was tiny. But obviously she had incredible endurance because she was older, she'd had a child, and at that point there was this gulf. A lot of us were very young. I was only 20. So I was probably too young to have ridden it. Looking back, it's like you probably wouldn't allow a 20-year-old to do a 3-week stage race.
Wow, incredible. Maria, it's been such a pleasure to get to know your experience of your experience at the Tour de France Femmes, and to hear these wonderful stories and anecdotes. And I think it's important that we know these stories. So yeah, thank you so much for joining on the podcast. It's been a real pleasure. Will you be out at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift in July?
Yes, I am going out to see the start. Yeah, I'm going out, taking my daughter out, and I'll be there to see them off.
Brilliant. Look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be terrific, and yes, it's wonderful that you can be there at another first, I guess, in the new era of the Tour de France Femmes.
It doesn't feel like it's a first. It feels like it's continuation.
Brilliant, brilliant. Maria, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing Maria Blower's stories, experience, what it was like to be at the Tour de France Femmes. In this part of our preview podcast of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, I get to chat to former professional cyclist Iris Slappendal on just how big this is for the development of women's cycling and where she sees the key stages of the route. Iris, for our first section today, I would like to talk about the race overall. I mean, you've seen the development of women's cycling and where we are now. Just how big is this for the development of women's cycling?
Yeah, it's of course, I can't deny it's pretty huge. It's the Tour de France Femmes, and I would say it's finally back. I've been doing a lot of research on the previous editions, like 84, 85, etc. And it's just really exciting to have it back now in 2022.
What do you see as the key stages of the route, Iris? Is there a stage that really stands out to you that you think, wow, this is going to be a decisive moment for the pro peloton? This is where the things could all change within the general classification.
Well, there are a few key stages, but of course the last two stages, 7 and 8, I think they're going to be decisive for the GC, and especially the finish on the Super Planche is going to be really great. So I'm looking forward to that. On the other hand, that also means that the GC is probably going to be decided in the last 2 days. Which is also really nice, because in that way, you know, you keep the tension on for all the 8 days. But I do need to mention stage 4, because I think this is going to be a tricky stage where you might not win the GC, but you can lose it. So stage 4 is definitely one to highlight.
Thanks very much, Iris. Hold the thought, because we'll be back very soon at the end of this podcast. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aisha McGowan from Live Racing Extra. This podcast is brought to you by Live, the cycling brand that puts women first. I've been riding for Live for 4 years, and it has been amazing to ride for a brand that is completely powered by women. They listen to our feedback and are interested in more than our results. They truly care about us and want to help us share our stories and knowledge. Live invests in creating opportunities for women in the cycling industry and achieving parity for women's sports with their support of athletes, teams, races, and podcasts like this one. I love riding and racing the Live Langma. It's extremely lightweight, stiff, and aero for snappy handling without sacrificing comfort. I'm incredibly confident
I'm
in this
pushing
bike.
myself here, but it's
I've
good,
also
you know?
been loving my Live shoes and helmet. Whether you're an absolute beginner or professional like me, Live has bikes, apparel, and gear to suit your needs. Visit
I'm wearing mine.
live-cycling.com to find out more. And be sure to follow @LiveCycling on Instagram
Yes.
for the helpful and inspirational
Focus.
content.
I'm delighted that
First
our
time.
next guest is
So cool.
Kate Varner, the Zwift Director of Women's Strategy.
Hi, Hannah. Wow, it's so great to be here with you.
Kate, you're now head of Women's Strategy at Zwift. And why did Zwift decide to step in and become the title partner of the Tour de France Femmes?
Yeah, so this goes way back. I think it started with Zwift Academy. And, you know, that first year of Zwift Academy was a women's program. You know, in partnership with Canyon SRAM Racing, we decided to create this, you know, groundbreaking opportunity, you know, to introduce a global talent ID competition to the world to find the next pro cyclist and kind of create this new pathway to the pros. And we saw such success with that program. It brought a lot of attention to the Women's World Tour. You know, it created new opportunities in women's cycling, and it was just a ton of fun. And we recognized that we had an opportunity at Zwift. You know, we have a virtual world, and we can help create the world of cycling we want to be a part of. So then, you know, that program grew year after year. When we started doing racing in Zwift, we always did equal opportunity, equal prize purse, equal broadcast, equal race distances for men and women, because we can. Why not? You know, it's just the right thing to do. So then the pandemic hits, and we started a conversation with ASO and about the Tour de France, and they had a lot of questions that year 2020, what was going to happen with the live event. So we partnered on a virtual event in Zwift, a 5-stage men's and women's pro race with the World Tour teams on Zwift. And the cool thing that we did was we continued that equal, prize purse broadcast distances for the Tour de France. And we even switched up the broadcast each day. One day the women would start first, the next day the men would start first. And the broadcast was off the charts in terms of viewership. It did not dip with the women or anything. It introduced so many people to, how great women's racing is. And another thing is that the Women's Pro Peloton, a lot of them have been Zwifting for a long time. And the shorter format on Zwift really suited them. So it was incredibly action-packed racing. The Women's Tour de France virtual races were more exciting than the men's. And it just kind of planted the seed. It proved the concept. It kicked off those conversations with ASO about, hey, let's take this outside. It's time. We can work together to make something happen.
That was a huge success. I remember commentating on that virtual Tour de France with Zwift, and it was such a huge success, and the attention that it got, the momentum that grew week by week, and when you saw the variety of winners that we had in the races, and who was taking part, it really was, that ball was rolling.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm so proud of the women because they saw this as an opportunity. The world is watching. They brought it, and that's what the Women's Pro Peloton does.
This is the first year then that you will be the title sponsor of the Tour de France avec Zwift. What are the aims, Kate, over the coming years for that partnership? Because it's not just a sole 1-year partnership that you have agreed to.
No, absolutely not. We are in this for the long term. This is a 4-year partnership. We want to work with the ASO. We want to work with the Women's Pro Peloton to grow the race year after year. So we want to introduce the world to, the power and the beauty of women's racing. It's a wonderful time in women's racing right now. The action's so good. The personalities are so exciting. And, the Tour de France is the world's biggest cycling stage. And it can account for up to 70% of annual viewership each year for cycling. And the women have not really had, that space, that audience. So we believe that this race is going to become the premier race of the Women's World Tour, that it's going to draw new fans, new sponsors, and it's going to help the sustainability of women's cycling around the world and across, a lot of levels. It's just going to, elevate the sport.
It certainly is, isn't it? And it's just going to open doors to those who might never have watched cycling before.
Exactly.
They might know the men's Tour de France, and I think this is the big talking point that a lot of riders are saying. They always get asked, from general public, from people who ask what they do. I'm a professional cyclist. Oh,
have you ridden the Tour de France?
Have you ridden the Tour de France? Oh no, there's no women's Tour de France, and now they can say, yes, I can, or in the future that is one of my goals, and I think that's a huge goal, motivation. It's a huge turning point in women's sport.
Yeah, honestly, it gives me chills to think about little girls, little boys watching the race and everybody being able to dream about lining up. Just the idea that it really hasn't happened in this before is kind of astounding. The race has been on for so long, so it is about time. We have a really fun campaign around this called New Rules, and it's about kind of pivoting and turning towards a bright, inclusive future of cycling. Cycling has been done the same way for a long time. It's been a bit male-dominated. We all know this. And the new rules say that, women are going to be at the start and they are going to bring, some incredibly fierce, exciting, aggressive, beautiful racing that I think that, any cycling fan will enjoy.
It's going to be such a thrill. I really can't wait. And I guess the question that people are thinking or asking is, what is in place to ensure that this becomes a sustainable event? What has Zwift got in its plans to make sure that it is sustainable?
Well, it's working with ASO to ensure that the broadcast, that there's going to be 2.5 hours a day of coverage. It's going to be, very easy to be seen across the world. So that's the number one thing. It's just, make it visible. We're putting in the same resources that go into the men's race. So all of the pomp and circumstance, all of the iconic elements of the tour will be there. I think even setting the race up to start on the final day of the men's is just the most incredible leverage and the best way to launch the race off of the heels of the men, when everybody that Monday after the tour, it's like, what do I do? And now you have this incredible race to tune in. Yes. So, and I think, one of the things I also love is the course. The 8 stages are going to be action-packed. It's a really wonderful course to really showcase the depth of the women's peloton. There could be a different stage winner every day. So you're going to see, some really incredible team racing. You're going to see some really incredible individual performances. I think that it will be just great, great entertainment. And that's a big part of it. And we're working with the other sponsors of the race to promote this as much as possible. I love the ASO partnership with Strava. We're just make sure that everybody knows this is going on, because it will be great. It will be exciting. It will be incredible to watch. So it's just about making sure everybody tunes in to watch the film.
I can see the smile on your face, Kate, and just the enthusiasm in your voice. And I know, having spoken to you over the last few months, and it's, the event is getting closer. We can't wait. Just how excited? Can you even put into words how excited you are for this edition, the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, getting underway in the Champs-Élysées on the 24th of July?
I'm going to have to compose myself. I'll be doing some breathing exercises leading through that first stage. I mean, something about, I've been there for the men's tour. I used to take people to the men's tour and bike tours, and just to see people, to see those massive crowds and the just the energy around it, and to know that they're all going to be tuned in and watching, the women's world tour race, that iconic look. It's just going to be completely overwhelming and thrilling. And, it feels like it's a kind of a dream to help make this, happen. And just very, very grateful for everybody in Zwift. Even Eric Min, our CEO, who loves women's racing. This wouldn't happen without him. There's so many advocates and allies that, have come together to create this moment. And women deserve it, and it's going to deliver. I think it's going to be an incredible first stage, especially starting at the Eiffel Tower, finishing on the Champs. I mean, forget it.
It's going to be incredible, isn't it? And I think your
I don't know when I used
drive,
my other.
your hard work, along with
Yes.
your team and everybody.
Doesn't
that's
the graph
working,
know?
everyone
But I
who
got another one.
has
I don't know what happened with it.
in making this happen. Really, it is. It's a historic moment. It's going to be very, very special.
It is.
What's going to be your role sort of on that first day? What does that first day look like for you, Kate?
Oh, it's going to be super fun. So we'll have a wonderful expo space in the fan zone near the Arc de Triomphe. That's going to be really cool. So just a beautiful Swift presence. And then it's going to be about, just watching the race, being there, representing Zwift. And then this is just going to take my breath away, but I actually get to be a part of the podium celebration, that first stage in Paris. And that is the honor of a lifetime. And I really, it's going to be holding back tears.
Almost get emotional myself. It's going to be such a huge, momentous moment, and I think that hard work and the constant drive that you've had to elevate the women's pro peloton and the women's cycling in general, along with Zwift and your team, and it's not just going to be you either that will be presenting an award. I hear we have another special guest that will be on the podium also.
Yes.
Ah.
So we have for the 8 stages, we get to present every day. We have there's going to be a Swift medal for the stage winner, and we are going to be very excited to invite Marianne Martin, the winner of the 1984 Tour de France Feminine, to join us for one of the stages. I think that paying tribute and honoring the women that came before this. I also think about the women that put on the course and how much effort and energy went into that. And it's really, there's so many people that got us to this point. And Marianne being an American and being an American company, it just makes sense to really involve her in the celebration at some point.
Brilliant. Kate, thank you so much for your insight. I cannot wait for the 24th of July when the Tour de France Femmes of Swift gets underway and we see this fantastic race. On our screens, you can watch it everywhere. We can follow it online, follow the hashtags on the media. It's going to be such a brilliant week. 8 days of racing.
Yep.
I can't wait. Kate, thank you so much for all your input and hard work.
Thank you. What a pleasure. Everybody watch the Femmes July 24th.
Liv are the sponsor of the white Young Riders jersey at the Tour de France Femmes of Swift. And now we're going to hear the thoughts of Cassandra Spring from Liv's Global Marketing and how excited Liv are to be involved in this year's race. Cassandra, thanks so much for joining the podcast. It's great to have you on board.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Hannah.
Cassandra, Liv are synonymous with women's cycling, but why the focus on the Young Riders white jersey at the Tour de France Femmes as a title sponsor?
Since Liv was founded, our goal has always been to help advance women's participation in cycling. So sponsoring the inaugural Tour de France Femmes of Swift and the white jersey was a natural extension of our mission. As a company, we really support women at every level of cycling in every discipline around the world, and sponsoring the best young rider in the Tour is super meaningful to us because we want to see women succeed in cycling at all levels and realizing their full potential on a bike. We think the white jersey symbolizes this, and we're really honored to be part of this historic event.
What are your hopes of this competition then? What are your hopes and Liv's hopes of the white jersey, the Liv Young Riders jersey?
We hope the inaugural Tour de France Femmes of Swift continues to elevate women in our sport, and that we can grow the sport to become more diverse and inclusive. Giving women the chance to compete in the most prestigious race in road cycling, it shows girls, young girls, all girls, that they too can achieve their dreams and aspire to compete at the highest level. And that's something that we've been committed to since the beginning at Liv.
I'm sure there's been months and months of planning behind the scenes all for this big moment that will get underway on the 24th of July in Paris for the start of the Tour de France Femmes of Swift. What will Liv be doing to drive viewers, fans, the engagement in the race and in the sport?
We have been doing a lot of planning, and as event partners, we certainly are intentional about our message about this being an important part and signal for the future, for a more inclusive future. We look forward to having Bonnie Tu, the Liv founder and our Giant Group chairperson, a global pioneer in women's cycling. She'll be at the race, and she'll be able to present the award to the best young rider at the conclusion of the first stage. So that's really exciting. We also will be, she'll be riding in the Pro-Am event during stage 4. But when we think about our worldwide community, we really think about getting people to watch the race wherever they are. And so, it's really important to us that people, know that this is happening. And if they can't be there in France, to really join in. And so we're really looking for ways to encourage people to have watch parties. We're working with our retailer networks to promote the Tour de France Femmes itself, and to really bring women into those retail spaces for a community viewing experience.
And that's great, isn't it? If you can build that community and have lots of people who might know the sport very well, who might be very new to it, and have a watch party in one of your retail spaces, it also creates such a wider community and everyone can enjoy it all together.
Absolutely, and truly, we've heard time and again for people to really envision themselves and in their fullest potential. To see it is, giving you the opportunity to be it. So can we get a wide audience, a worldwide audience watching the tour? And so that's something that we've really focused on here on the Live team. I know that we're talking about it a lot with our friends at Swift, with Kate, and also with our friends at the ASO. So very excited about the potential.
What does the future look like for the Young Riders jersey, that white jersey as with the title sponsor as Live? How many years is that agreement?
We're planning on 4 years right now, and I hope that lasts long into the future. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to see how this continued to build momentum that we're seeing not only in our sport, but also, just globally for more representation and equality and even equity, in competitive sports at the professional and highest levels.
I can hear in your voice just how excited you are for such a momentous moment in women's cycling, in cycling in general. The women's sport is going to be such a huge moment. Will you be there, Cassandra, on the 24th of July in Paris?
You better believe it. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I am like grinning ear to ear right now thinking about it. And to be able to, be there also with Bonnie too is really important and meaningful to me, but also just to see all of these riders and all of these, people that are really forces in the cycling world come together in support of this. I just couldn't even be more excited. I'm thrilled and looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. Me too. Can't wait for the race to get underway. Look forward to seeing you in France, meet you in person, and just thank you to you and to Liv for your support of women's cycling and the support for this jersey and the Pro Peloton. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's absolutely our pleasure. And also, thank you to Vox Women for your role in really, raising more awareness and telling more stories of women. Those spotlights are so important. And I look forward to all of the work and all of the things that we'll get to do together in the future.
That's very kind, Cassandra. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Iris, now let's put you on the spot. Who's going to win the yellow jersey?
Yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot. But there's just one name that pops in my head, and I think it's probably for most of the cycling fans. So I'm not gonna like do really surprising prediction here, as I'm gonna go with Annemiek van Vleuten for the yellow jersey. But if there will be any surprises, I'll be really stoked to see.
And the white jersey, the Young Riders jersey?
I'll pick Fisher Black. And I think she's one of the most exciting talents that we have at the moment, especially uphill. And I think, I think she could even be together with Vollering, could be a contender for the podium. And I'm sure they're not going to make it easy for Annemiek van Vleuten to take that yellow jersey. So I'm going to go with Fisher Black for white.
So Neve Fisher Black for the Young Riders white jersey. What about the Queen of the Mountains jersey then? Because that could be also really hotly contested. We've seen just how much there's been a battle with some riders in previous races for this kind of jersey.
True. I haven't checked the points system completely, so I guess there's a big chance with the uphill finishes as well that the QM is going to be taken also with the rider who takes the yellow jersey. But if I forget about that for a second, then my hope is on Veronica Ewers of EF Education, which is also one of these like really exciting riders who's doing a really strong season at the moment and a great climber. So it would be cool if she could take that jersey.
It certainly would. And the final jersey of the four, the green points jersey, who do you think is going to take the points jersey come the end of July?
Can I not name two names? Because I'm really doubting.
Why not? Yeah, go for it.
Because I think Vibes, of course, I think she's gonna take it first day immediately on the Champs-Élysées. She's gonna like put on a masterly sprint there. But I also got Balsamo in my mind, especially on the more, because she's such a rider that can handle a lot of different terrains, even more so than Vibes. So I think she's also able to take points in the other stages, the not typical sprint stages, like stage 4, for example. So if I need to choose, pick Balsamo.
Okay, so Iris's predictions for the jerseys of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. We have the yellow jersey in Annemiek van Vleuten, the white jersey on the shoulders of Niamh Fisher-Black, the Queen of the Mountains in Veronica Ewers, and the points jersey going to Elisa Balsamo. Aside from those winners, Iris, who is going to be the revelation of the Tour, do you think? Who's going to be the revelation of the race?
Well, in preparation of this podcast, I've created a list of names of riders that are not just for GC or sprint, but I'm just excited to see. But that list turned out to be pretty long. It's about 50 names, so I need to pick one here. And I would go for Olivia Barril, a Canadian rider that's been also doing really well in the last few months. Actually, this season she's just super strong, racing for the Italian Falcon team, which is anyway a team I really enjoy, the way they race, etc. So yeah, I think she's also this really versatile rider that can climb really well, that has a pretty good finish, etc. So yeah, Barril is a rider that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, surprise us all at the Tour de France Femmes.
She is an incredibly exciting talent coming through, isn't she? It's been brilliant to see her progression, growth, and development in the last few months, because it has been phenomenal. Since you had 15 names, Iris, I'll give you 4 more riders to pick off that list who we should also watch out for, who might not be in those jerseys, but certainly we should keep an eye on them, who could be, bring a few surprises and also be impressive.
Siri van Alroy is on my list. Again, young rider, incredible season so far. She's also aiming for that young riders jersey in the overall World Tour classification. So and has an amazing racing attitude. Like, she's always there. So I think it's a great name. A lot more experienced rider, but Chapman, the Australian, is a rider I always love to see, and she always is part of breakaway. So for example, for a breakaway day, Chapman is a rider I'm gonna look out for. Kristen Faulkner just did incredible at the Tour de Suisse, so she's gonna be in the mix. And then for the very last one, maybe not a surprising name, but just Marianne Vos. I mean, yeah, she's kind of part of this whole history of the newer La Course to the France edition. She's an amazing rider. She's the older, experienced one, but I think she got her eyes on this Tour de France Femmes, so she's gonna take a stage here and there.
Terrific to hear your thoughts, Iris. What else do you think we can expect from the race? 8 days of racing, so much, the variation in terrain, what is possible, so many different stages that could suit.
When you look for an assistant, just let me know. I'll send my story to them.
Well, I think it's the interesting thing of stage races is the battle for GC versus the stage victories. So I'm really curious what this dynamic will be, especially with the Giro Donne just before. So you've got riders that will be racing for GC in both of those races. Some will probably focus completely on the Tour, and others will, for example, go for stages in the Giro, but for the overall in the Tour. So I think this is just going to be really already very exciting leading up to the Tour. Like you say, it's the variety in terrain. It's the fact that it's a race on itself is something I really appreciate about this thing. It's not that it's at the same time as the men's Tour de France, but it's really a race, a separate race, but with the same organization, everything about it, the media. So I'm just looking forward to the drama, to the stories, to be there on site, because I'm gonna be there every day reporting from the motorbike. So I'm just really excited to be in that race. And especially, like I say, the last two stages, the gravel stage, as I call it, stage 4, the finish on the super planche, but also the Grand Ballon. So actually this whole, ik say Vogezen in the Netherlands, but it's a really nice area, and it's really, I mean, it's not the Alps, but it's a really, really tough terrain. So yeah, I think it's just all together, the mix of terrain, the excitement of the riders. I'm sure they're going to feel that extra pressure from the media attention. The fact that it's such a historic moment, that they're racing there now, so they're all going to feel that extra pressure and excitement. And I think that's going to be, that's going to add something extra to this race.
It certainly is. I mean, I cannot wait for this moment. 24th of July can't come soon enough. I'm really looking forward to it, as are you, Iris. As ever, thank you so much for your insights and input, and can't wait to see those predictions come the end of the race.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much.
See you there.
I don't know about you, but I thoroughly enjoyed getting to chat to so many incredible people about what this year's Tour de France Femmes is going to bring, and also the memories, the stories, what it was like back in the 80s from Mandy Jones and Maria Blower, from when they rode the Tour de France Femina. You can learn all about the young riders in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift this year by listening to the Vox Women Here Comes the Future podcast series. It's available on all podcast platforms. We'll also be producing a daily podcast from the tour, so why not subscribe now and you'll be notified when the podcast lands. From myself, Hannah Walker, thanks so much for listening. We'll see you on the tour, but for now.
I hate cobblestones. It's so tiring. Just 1 minute and a half, I can do it. It's really a push to my comfort zone. 1 minute. Bye guys. Wait. Ah. 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 Oh, I wanted so much that new rules. Yeah, but this one was a beautiful one. Huh? Ah, guys, that was healing. Ah, and I kept my Roca Corba shirt on. Ah, oh, sorry. My apologies. Ah. Oh Lord, that was a hard one, guys. Whew. Let's see who's streaming, if anyone. Oh my God, no one. Oh, Camp, but I don't know if Camp is doing Polish. I don't know. Guys, I'm signing off. So today, tomorrow is a rest day. Tuesday, there's going to be something. Tuesday, there's a workout. Wednesday, social ride. Thursday, workout. Friday, there is race. This is going to be a mad week. So hang around. Please follow the channel. So, and check